announcement goes out saying a security announcement. There's this new when it's been solved. There's a new version of this module. Go and update that. They come out all the time. I mean, all software will have insecurity holes or have security holes. It's how fast do they actually go in and patch it? How effective is the security team in actually fixing this stuff? And how good do they work? Now, if it was the kind of community where it was a very backstabbing community and someone finds a security hole and the first thing they do is post it on their blog saying, "Ha, I found a security hole," like that, what they did to Apple for that CanSac West thing, right? If they would have first just gone to Apple and say, "Hey, got this security hole," and Apple would have said, "Thanks, that's awesome," and then they would have gone and fixed it. But no, they have to do this big whole announcement about how Apple's insecure because they found this one security hole. Apple and Drupal, we find security holes all the time. It's how effective is the community and the specific team in charge of it is at actually patching it. And Drupal's very good at that. So yes, you will definitely find insecure holes in modules, and there's ways of getting that fixed. Drupal has a really nice update status screen on their admin section of the website, which you'll see it's built into core. And it will show you when the modules are updated, and it'll be bright red if there's actually a security update. And then you can go in and update that module. Or core. Core gets security updates all the time. Drupal 5 is like in Drupal 5.21 or something, 20. And so there's been that many updates to Drupal Core 5. And many of them are security updates, and so it's you just learn about it more. It's like in open source, you learn about it more because they do the announcements, but it's after it's fixed they do the announcements.
And I'll talk more about more techniques for security.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Now all the rest of those words they had, I laughed when I saw that because it was like a scout. What's a scout? A trustworthy. So that's powerful, flexible, extensible, reliable, configurable, scalable, stable, and secure. Good. So let's talk about. I'm going to talk about a couple of these. We just talked about secure, so we'll skip that one. Let's talk about scalable. So Drupal are running some of the largest websites that are out there, right? Examiner.com, WhiteHouse.gov. I mean, Onion until recently, theonion.com until recently. The Grammys this year. And the Grammys was an interesting one because it was like leading up to the Grammys, there was a certain amount of activities to find out who was nominated and stuff. But the 3 hours that the Grammys were actually going on was insane. They were getting tons of hits. And they were able to take this and scale it to build and maintain a huge website with immense traffic, unthinkable traffic. And so it doesn't do this out of the box. You have to do some very kind of specific little server tweaking, combinations of server tweaking. There's a different kind of distribution of core that's called PressFlow that helps you do that. So it's definitely scalable. Configurable we talked about. And extensible, so we have all these modules. I was asked to talk a little bit about accessibility, so let's mention that now too. So what Drupal lets you do with the accessibility, and the accessibility is kind of like the security. It has to be built into the module, it has to be built into the theme that it's actually going to be accessible, 508 compliant or ADA compliant. Drupal core has a lot of that stuff built into it. And then when you add an image field to your theme, you can say, do you want to have a little field there for the alt tag so that they can actually type something in, or do you want it to be automatically generated, or do you want to just not have any at all, which is possible. It's not advised and it's not ADA compliant, but it's possible, right? And when you build a theme, if you're thinking about colors and stuff like that, Drupal's not going to help you say don't have green and blue, right next to each other. Drupal's not going to tell you that you can't do that, but you can build the theme to do whatever you want. So it's very, very helpful in making an accessible website, and just the fact that it's running on so many universities and government websites where it absolutely has to be accessible, and it's definitely a way to do it. And so Drupal core will definitely help you along that way. All right, Drupal's free. Now, free has two meanings, right? So I don't know if you guys have covered this. So And so people like to say it is free as in beer and free as in speech. So in English we have this one word free, and in Latin there's two different words, right? So Drupal is free because it's like a freedom. It's like a freedom of speech, right? And free as in beer. So like you go to a party and they give you a beer, right? You can't take that beer apart. You can't, you can't brew your own beer out of that. It's just a free beer, and you get it, and you go home. So it's free as in you can download and you can use it as much as you want. Anybody can. But it's free as in speech as well, which means that you actually get the source code, and you can do anything you want with the source code. You know, we say don't hack the core. You can. It's not against the law. You're not breaking copyright. You better know what you're doing. That's all. So. And then it's extensible by writing all these modules. So all these modules are free as well. So if you want to figure out how to do this, I love this because there's no financial barrier to entry, right? So it's anybody who wants to, you're out of a job, you don't have any money, I hear this Drupal thing's going to might get you a job. If they have a computer, they can just go and download and start playing around with it. You don't have to spend $600 on Photoshop to even get yourself started, right? So that is, I think, really helping kind of the Drupal community and open source community really come up right now, because you don't have to go and buy a lot of stuff. You do kind of have to have a computer, or at least access to one. But you can edit code in the built-in text editor that comes with your computer and download Drupal for free and download the whole stack, which he'll talk about how to get it installed on your own computer. You don't need to pay for all this stuff. So, you can really hack it. You can grab a module and see how it works, and it's recommended. Find a module that you understand how it works on the front end, break it apart, and you can see how it works on the back end, and that'll help you write more modules. All right. Drupal has a community. This picture was DrupalCon DC last year. I'm around there somewhere. It is Drupal, the software's most valuable asset. Absolutely. The reason that Drupal is moving as fast as it's moving is because of the community. You have, I don't know how many people over there, lots of people over there. These are all the best Drupal people in the world, and they're working really hard right now to make Drupal 7 come out, fix modules, and I imagine some of them are getting paid by maybe their company to be there. But people are doing this because they want this software, they want it out, and it's moving, right? So that's one of the things you'll hear. The drop is always moving. You have all these mantras, right? The drop is always moving, and it's moving fast, and the community is the one that's really pushing this. And the community will also be your most valuable resource. There's a lot of ways that you can connect with the community and get benefits from that, and you'll just feel like you want to contribute. That's how I feel. It's like, I want to contribute back because I'm getting so much benefit from all these folks, and I want to contribute back. And that's that ecosystem that's been built around here. It's really incredible, actually. I've been working with the Mac for a long time, and Mac's a proprietary system, and I've always used Photoshop and all those other things, and I bought the software or maybe got it for work or something like that. I never really got into any sort of open source community until I found Drupal, and it's just a totally different way of building software. It's really an incredible dynamic. All right, so I was working on this very last slide right before you guys showed up, so I didn't quite finish it. But here are some websites that you can go to about, Drupal.org obviously is going to be your biggest resource. But there's also a couple